In our next team, the second least exciting team in in this division, we've got the Packers. And I think probably just because of where
We
they ended
don't
up
like them.
last season. We also don't like them, but just because of also where they ended up last season, I don't feel like they've got much more room to go up. They can't be as exciting as these next couple of teams that are on in this division.
You don't
Starting off,
think you don't think uh Josh Jacobs is a needle mover for them? And you don't think Jordan Love makes more improvement?
I don't think I'm not a Jordan Love truther. I think last year was an anomaly. I think last year,
Everybody
2023,
in Green Bay
2024,
thinks they've found their third coming. Like they
everybody in Green Bay, everybody in major sports media on ESPN, Fox, wherever major sports media is, believes that Jordan Love is this great, amazing quarterback, and his trajectory is honestly only going to get better. Which after last season, it's going to be very hard to get better than that, just because of how good last season was for him. At least the second half of the season, I think last season was an anomaly, and it only gets worse from here. Josh Jacobs is a needle mover in terms of the running back game, but in terms of for this team, how much better is Josh Jacobs than Aaron Jones?
I think
He's
decently.
better. He's better, but he's not that much better. He's not a guy that just is. He is not a Jamal Charles to some Joe Schmo. Like like it's not.
I don't know. I
It
think you
doesn't
can
jump the scale.
I think you're taking a lot I think you're taking pressure off of Jordan Love by bringing in Josh Jacobs. As long as he can produce somewhere near his MVP caliber season from not that long ago. Um, yeah, I don't think he was legitimately in the conversation, but he had pretty damn good numbers not that long ago. If he can give him that type of output, that takes so much pressure off of Jordan Love and really gives him an opportunity to make another jump. Like his weapons in the continuity that they're about to have this upcoming season with Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, and who's the rookie that came on real strong at the end of the season last
Jaden
year?
Reed.
Yeah, with Jaden Reed. They've got. I mean, it's another fun team. Like I really love their wide receiver room. I really love the addition at running back. And if Jordan Love gets better, even is in the slightest, they're still a formidable offensive team. Like
I mean, don't
they,
get me wrong. They have weapons across the board, and I totally agree. Like you just said, Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed. Don't forget that they also have Dontavion Wicks, who showed up at the end of last season when injuries started hitting them.
yeah,
And yeah, they did get rid of Aaron Jones, but they still have AJ Dillon, and Josh Jacobs is a very comparable back to Aaron Jones. And
he's
and
better.
they also have Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft, like two tight ends that know how to go out, do their job, find open space, and block when needed. The offense that's built around Jordan Love is great. I just don't think he's that good of a quarterback. Really don't. I think they made him a lot better than he was last year. He's got really, really good skill guys. It'll take a while for us to really see what he can do without having those weapons around him because they're on rookie contracts. They'll be there for a bit. But I do think we start to see some regression from Jordan Love because I don't think he's that good.
He got pretty lucky last year in a lot of spots, so it's going to go downhill pretty hard this year.
A lot. Look at the. I think you only have to look at Chiefs versus Packers last season to see how lucky he was. How many of those bombs that sky bombs that just went straight up in the air and somehow found the lap of his receiver when he was triple covered and they catch it? Like, no, that's not happening this year. He's not getting that lucky.
Well, he's got a coach that a lot of people feel like is one of the better offensive minds in the league. So he's damn near set up for success. I don't think the regression is going to be as heavy as you are anticipating. Really, like, and it pains me to say it because I don't really like him. I'm not rooting for him as a player. Let's stick his mom further up in the
All the way up in the
nosebleeds.
stands.
Like,
I was just gonna say that we were on the same sticker up there.
but But Green Bay's bad seasons are 500. I'm pulling that off of some video I saw earlier this week, but Green Bay is a perennial contender, and in a weak conference, they could push to be a Super Bowl team. I really do feel like
In
Josh
a
Jacobs.
weak NFC division, yeah.
Well, I don't necessarily think this is too terribly weak of a division in the NFC, but you got two teams that I feel like should be pretty good playoff teams here. Um, but look, the Niners usually have a dead year after they have such a grueling season. The Eagles, could have locker room troubles. So like the NFC could be up for grabs, and a 10 to 11 win team could go pretty deep in the playoffs and make the Super Bowl. But when you're facing the Chiefs, it's all for naught.
We're talking about how good their skill group is on the offensive side. I think it also needs to be talked about how good their defense is. You still have Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, Preston Smith, Way Walker. You've got Eric Stokes. They brought in Xavier McKinney from the Giants. You still have Jair Alexander, a captain of the team who's been there for a long time, but is not actually a captain of the team. You've got Kissy and Nixon, and then two rookies that they brought in who will be automatic starters, Javon Bullard and Edrin Cooper as well. Defense legitimately is probably the best part of that team, even though we just talked about how good those wide receivers and the running back, the skill position room there is really good. This defense is way better.
Ty Bob's a cheesehead, man. He knew everybody on that defense. Came
I mean,
off one by one.
Does
I've,
he not have the roster pulled up
I,
right in front
I
of him?
100%.
He does not have the roster pulled up in
No,
front of
I
him.
don't. I don't. I
Why
know
would
it
he
right
do
here.
that?
Just reading a
Locked
list
up.
of players.
But I know all of them. I
Look,
know all of them.
Green Bay is what Dallas desperately wants to be, and that's just a team that might get a playoff win. But uh, I hate that Jordan Love might actually be a good quarterback, and those words coming out of my mouth, it's almost like poison on my lips.
I think they make the playoffs this year. I do not.
It's
They
hard
will
not to be a
not.
good quarterback in the situation you're in. Like you should have success with the guys that you have in and the continuity, and it shouldn't be that hard to have a decent season this year, but
This team will not make the NFC Championship again.
Okay,
we'll
yeah,
see.
yeah. We'll see.
We'll see.
Taking a look at their schedule here, real quick. This one looks pretty difficult. They start off with the Eagles. That game is in Brazil. Don't forget.
Don't
That'll
forget it.
be pretty exciting. But then they play the Colts. They have the Titans, the Vikings, the Rams, and the Cardinals for their first six games. Um, maybe have them going 3-3. That's tough.
That's a rough start.
But then it kind of wavers out here, especially at the end, their last four or so games. They have the Rams, then the Cardinals, the Texans, the Jags, the Lions, and then this is kind of where it starts to go off. You've got an easy game in the Bears, you've got the 49ers, who knows if they're going to be healthy. You've got the Dolphins, the Lions, then the Seahawks, Saints, Vikings, Bears. Three final games, Saints, Vikings, Bears. Couldn't get much easier.
I don't know about that Bears one, man. I just don't know about that one yet.
Should be
uh,
scrappy.
it might be. It might be. We'll have to see what Vegas thinks of that. But Vegas thinks of the Packers at 9.5.
Ooh.
I talked all that stuff, so it would be really weird for me to call the under here. I'm gonna say over. I think 10 wins is very achievable for the Packers.
I think it's very achievable, but they're not going to get there. They're going to finish right at 9 wins,
Ooh,
right on the cusp.
take a look at this. 3-6. They only have to win 3 more games. I said they were going to win or 4 more games. I think they can do that. Go ahead and give me the over. Again, they'll make the playoffs, but miss out on the NFC Championship.